Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to try to make rice flour with our Ninja Foodi Power Blender and also our Ninja Professional Food Processor, just to find out how well these appliances can do something like this, along with whether or not they can do it at all. So you ready? Let's get into this. There's two techniques to making rice flour. We're gonna try to do this the fast way and see what happens. What's the fast way, you ask? All we did was leave this rice in the freezer for a couple of hours and now we're just gonna process it. This method is supposed to be for really high-end, high-speed blenders, but we're gonna see if our ninjas can handle this. First up is gonna be the food processor here. So let's go ahead and take off this lid and we're gonna go ahead and throw in about half of our rice. Now that we got that in there, we can go and throw on our lid and we're gonna go ahead and process this for about a minute or so. Just to let you know, I'm not super optimistic about this food processor, just because food processors typically have a lot slower blades, but we'll see what happens. By the way, if this is your first time here and you wanna learn some cool new recipes, get some great cooking tips and tricks and all sorts of other kitchen related things, then start now by subscribing to the channel and clicking the notification bell so you never miss a thing. All right, now that that's done, well, as you can see, that is still plain old rice. So the food processor's not getting it done this way. But like I said before, I wasn't really expecting that. So now we're gonna go ahead and try the same test with our Ninja Foodi Power Blender. This is much higher speed, so we might get some better results, but we're about to find out. So we're throwing our rice, and we're gonna go ahead and give this the same amount of time. Well, I'll tell you what, after a minute, this is looking pretty good. You can see that this is pretty powdery already. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna shake this thing up over here a little bit and we're gonna give it another minute. One thing about Ninja blenders is that since they have that tower style blade system, you can't really take a spoon in there and mix stuff up. And if you take the blades out to do it, it's gonna be hard to get them back in there because they won't seat properly. So the best thing to do is to pick the whole thing up and just kind of shake it around a little bit. Yeah, it's kind of annoying, but you know, it is what it is. All right, now that's done. Let's check out the results. You can see right there that that is pretty darn impressive, actually. Now from here, we can go ahead and sift it just to make sure there's no big chunks in there or anything, or we can just go ahead and leave it as is. I would recommend doing the sifting. To sift this, we can do this two different ways. You can either use a little colander like this, whereas we're just gonna put some of this in here, spoon it in, and then we're just gonna kind of shake it over the top here and just kind of keep doing this indefinitely until it all comes through here. And that will take a century. The better way would be is if you have a sifter like this. Basically everything goes in here and you just pull the lever there a bunch of times and everything just shoots out of the bottom. Much better way to do it, and these things cost about 10 bucks or so. If you look down in the description of the video, I'll link a decent one there for you. Keep in mind this is pretty wide, so if you're gonna do it this way, make sure you're covering up the top of the funnel here so you don't get it all over the place. And just to show you when we get done sifting, this is all stuff that the blender didn't quite grind up enough that would kind of ruin your flour. The ways to avoid this would be to run the blender a little bit more full, because as you see, I did it about halfway full. Or you can just go ahead and run it longer as well. I only ran it 2 cycles, that's 2 minutes. You could probably run it maybe 4 minutes or so, and this would be a lot less evident. This flour here is really nice and powdery. We retried making the rice flour with the food processor with a more standard recipe, which is cleaning and draining the rice several times, letting it soak in some water for about an hour, then draining all the water out in our colander, and then spreading all that rice out onto a lint-free towel to let it dry a little bit. Once that gets dried out enough to be just a tiny bit damp but not wet, then we went ahead and put that back into the food processor and let it run for 3 cycles. As you can see, once those cycles got done, we had a much better result. However, even though we went ahead and softened that rice up in the water for the food processor, the results still weren't quite as good as what we got out of the Ninja Foodi Power Blender with dry rice. So that's really saying a lot about the power of these Ninja Foodi Power Blenders, because usually making rice flour with dry rice is something reserved for really high-end blenders. If you'd like to try to make rice flour with that standard method, you can look down in the description of the video and we have all the information down there for you as well. If you'd like to learn a little bit more about us, you can check out a couple more videos, or you can check us out online at joesphenomenal.com. I thank you so much for taking a little bit of time out of your busy day to watch this video, It really means a lot to me, and I can't wait to see you back again here really soon. So until that time, I'm Joe, and I hope you have a phenomenal day. Take it easy.